Back AP US History students, second edition of our online lecture notes, hashtag take two, on the market revolution. Mr. Welch and I believe that we need to spend a little more time on this topic for two reasons. Number one, Brinkley kind of scatters this topic across 4 different chapters, so we are going to attempt to kind of condense all this information into one. Second, we have an in-class DBQ on Thursday, so this information is going to supplement Stacy and Heller to help you answer the prompt. Speaking the prompt, it reads, to what extent is the name market revolution appropriate to describe the changes that happened in the United States between the years 1800 and 1848? Choose 2 of these factors, economics, society, and politics, to formulate your response. Now I need you to pause the video in a second and to do 2 things. Number 1, I need you to flip to Stacy and Heller, page 23, and that's going to walk you through how to mark up this prompt so you understand what it is asking. Number 2, I want you to think about 2 words and what they mean to you. Number 1, market, and number 2, revolution. So please pause the video, complete those tasks, and then return once you are done. Okay, so you should have marked up this prompt. You should have underlined the task. So if this was an AP exam, they'd have the word evaluate right here. So evaluate what extent. Also, you should have underlined choose 2 of these factors. You also should have outlined your category, which is right here. Lastly, you should have circled your topic, which are these 3 words: economics, society, and politics. Like I said, I also want you to think about the word market and revolution. Market is synonymous with an economic term, and economics, and personally in my class, I call it market, is when a situation where you have interaction between buyers and sellers. Revolution, if you were to ask me to define this word in one sentence, I would say that it is upsetting society. What do I mean by upsetting is that the way that people operate and the world that they live in is different. It's flipped upside down, or it has changed drastically. So think about those 2 words while you're going through the lecture. Besides just answering the prompt, Mr. Welch and I have a couple tasks for you that you also have to accomplish while writing your essay in class on Thursday. Number 1 has to be an essay format. We're going to go over in class on Wednesday. Number 2, you have to use 6 out of the 9 Stacy and Heller documents I've listed right here on the slides. Number 3, you have to use at least 2 examples from this lecture. Number 4, you have to use explicit and implicit evidence. This comes from pages 206 through 209 in Stacy and Heller. We're going to go over those components in class on Wednesday. As well as number 5, you have active verbs, which we're going to work on in class as well. While we're listening to this lecture, we should be doing a couple things. Number 1, add notes as I speak. Okay, if you just listen to the lecture and you don't mark up your page, you're not doing this correctly. I am not going to define all of the terms on this list like it says right here. You're going to see the notes are divided up in this manner. So you see terms from Brinkley. We should already know what these terms mean, or they're already included in Brinkley. So if you do not know what these things are, I highly suggest pausing the video, looking up these terms, and briefly describing what these things mean. Also, I have down here says new information. These are new terms, people, places, or ideas that are not discussed in Brinkley. I'm going to spend a little bit of time discussing these things. Now, on the left-hand side, you see bullet points. Like I said, just looking at these bullet points and listening to me talk is not the best strategy. As I'm talking through these bullet points, you should be taking subtle notes, either on the lines on the right next to the slides on the sheet of paper that you have, or it can be on the slide itself, above it, left of it, below it. I really don't care. Besides that, very important is this last point. I need you to get out different colors. This could be color pencils. This could be pens. It doesn't have to be these colors, but we need to distinguish these factors into, put them into categories. So it helps you when you're writing this DBQ on Thursday, when you're going back to these notes, it's going to help you make sense of all of this, because I'm not going to discuss economic changes, social changes, and political changes. All of these things kind of mesh together, and color coding your notes is going to help you decipher between these 3 different factors.